collect shapes. I'm always looking for possibilities, little light shapes against dark shapes, little busy areas, big bold shapes with small shapes up against it. In this case, it was these white shapes with those dark shadows underneath in this doorway. It was just, wow, it was perfect. It was made to order for a painter. And then all this rich changing of colors from cool hues to warm. So I've made a plan based on that. And this is my plan. And it looks rather simple, but here it is. The darks are going to move down. I like that, moving across here and picking up through the shadows. I've added a little figure over here, and I've dropped all this stuff. So these darks will move down through here, up into the figure, bounce back up to the window, and continue the cycle again. And the lights will do the same thing. I haven't put the light gray in here on the wall, but these white shapes from the window, dancing across here, catching some light down here, on the steps here, back to the figure and back up around. So the eye will move around and around, because the eye moves most easily along pathways of similar values. So a white shape, a white shape, a white shape, and your eye just bounces along. Caravaggio and all the painters of the Baroque era understood that. So here's the painting. I've done well, it's not the painting. This is the initial drawing, a contour line drawing of all of the shapes, suggested where I'm going to include some stonework and things. And notice not a lot of detail. It's just a placement of the shapes. So now, to start off with, I'm going to just build some big patterns of color. And take a deep breath, because it's scary starting a watercolor. It always is. It shouldn't be. I should be used to it by now, but once I get that first stroke on there, I think I'll be all right. That's the scariest part. Okay, I'm going to start with some cool tones up there. That's about how dark I want that initial wash to be. I'm going to save some whites up in there, thinking all the time, what? And this is going to be pretty warm in through here. And I want to make sure I leave some little, there's a little light fixture sitting up there. I hope I left an edge there that's not going to be oh no, that's going to be fine. That's a dark skirt that goes underneath. All right. And let's see. I'll have to let that dry, and then I'm going to bring in the dark underneath and leave that white. Okay. Now I'll mop up a few of the little puddles. And we've got a big wash of color, changes from blues and some greens and a lot of little worked up edges and stuff. So that's the undercolor for the brick and mortar and stuff. Now let's see. I think I better dry some of that. I get it to that point, then I know there are things I can always adjust. You know, this orange ran into the corner there, and that's fine. I can take care of little problems like that later on. Mainly, I want to put in this dark up here, the shadow going across there. And so I need this dry. The temptation is always to get into this fun little brick and stone and all that the little details, you know. But they don't do any good if the foundation isn't there. It's kind of like building a building. You hang those little details on a shape. Don't try and do the finish work before you get the foundation done. Okay, now I think it's time to clean this palette off, so I've got more pigment on there. Got wet there. Who knows what it is? There, and that's the clothesline not being used at the moment. Okay, and I just feel like I need a slightly darker, shadow going across this foreground here, as though something is casting a shadow. Maybe a tree or something. Is that enough? Maybe not. There. I also think maybe her shoes were too light, so I'm going to give her darker shoes. And I've got a couple of smears I'll have to just lift off. But that's really easy to do. You just, take a little tape. Sponge. And voila. Fixed. That just protects the area so I don't smear it worse, and then I'll come in after that's dried and pick that out. Okay. There we have it. That was fun. And the thing that's neat about it, you start a painting like this and you have a plan and you've done the drawing, but once it starts, it sort of gains a life of its own, and half the fun is just responding to it, seeing what happens. If it were totally planned, I had to stick right to the plan, right to the very end. I think it would get to be a boring exercise for me. Okay. That's it. There, I hope everybody had as much fun as I did.